Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny.
And Intel finally cut their dividend, but there is one more thing they need to do to stop being such a crappy, bloated company. We're going to talk about it. It's a little bit of a hot take, but they do not deserve their price still.
Two Super Guys Trade Stocks.
All right.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear this. As a former Intel shareholder, mildly reformed, maybe now. I want to hear what you have to say.
My ass. There is one thing they need to do. I think it's going to be very obvious when you see it, but I'm going to show you AMD and NVIDIA first to see if you can figure out where it's going. Now, real quick, they made the news, right? We did a video earlier saying that they needed to do this. They need to get rid of their dividend a while ago.
It wasn't that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah. This is obviously not what you wanted. They went up to 27 and change, and everyone's like, oh yeah. They just came right back down, and now they are hitting this huge support, 24.90. You can see they butted up against that. I would have zoomed out more, but it's just picture like a slide. That's pretty much that's the stock chart. All right, we are going to go over how much Vinny would pay for this, and I would pay for this, especially if they do this one thing.
All
right. They're going to save about 4 to 6 billion per year from decreasing this dividend. Honestly, if you look at AMD's R&D budget, that should be plenty. I don't know if that's actually going to make a huge difference. I wish they would have. Would you want them to have a dividend at all?
Right now, no. Actually, I would tell them they probably shouldn't pay a dividend at all. But the problem is they're going to piss off so much of their stockholder base that the stock's going to continue selling off. I don't know. Maybe it's just recency bias from me being actually in Warner Brothers Discovery and seeing what happened when all the AT&T shareholders got their dividend shares and just kind of kept selling them over time. I actually think Intel, it might be a company I want to put a bearish trade on right now after this news.
All right.
So in the long term.
Yeah,
but I think their stockholder base is going to be pissed.
Yeah. Here's where I disagree with it. One, they said that they are committed to maintaining a competitive dividend. Okay. The difference between Intel and AT&T is Intel has the opportunity for mad growth, right? They're in the space where they're competing against NVIDIA, AMD. They can get a bunch of AI, all that stuff, okay? AT&T can't. It's not really, I don't think it's fair to compare them to AT&T.
Okay.
Here is one reason why they did this. Their operating margin and their EBITDA. Let me move my face so you can see just how terrible this is. This is since 2010. Look at that sexy. Look at that. I want to ski down that. That looks great.
Apparently makes slides, actually, not semiconductors, so might as well.
Crappy. We're not doing like a huge look at Intel's financials. I'm doing this so that you can see the other major thing they need to do. But you can see their operating income died. It's non-existent. Let me move your face. EBITDA half, net income less than half from the last 3 quarters, or 3 years. Those are years. They're in a lot of trouble because they also just committed a bunch of money to a bunch of fabs. So this is an issue. Here is their share buybacks, or shares outstanding, where you can see that they would be buying back shares, and recently they're not doing that. Slightly increasing.
Yeah, stock-based comp increasing, but definitely no longer deploying a bunch of capital there, which makes sense, right? They're building out these very expensive fabs, so I get that. But
do you know anyone who works at Intel?
I do not.
Okay. Now we're just gonna look at something real quick. AMD's market cap, 126 billion. Share float, 1.6 billion. Employees, 15,500. Now, I understand that they are not equivalent competitors. They have different aspects of their business. I'm not comparing them completely, one is the opposite of the
Apples to
other.
apples. Yeah, I
Okay?
get that.
Apples to pineapples. That's correct. Thank you for that. Nvidia, which again, a little bit different. Market cap 572 billion, share float 2.36 billion, employees 22,473. How many employees do you think Intel has?
Well, Intel's a fab, so obviously they're going to have a lot more. Probably would have been more appropriate to compare them to like Taiwan Semiconductor from that standpoint. But
No,
I'm going to
because
say,
Taiwan Semiconductor's stock price is doing wonderfully, and they're not idiots. And on top of that, AMD's not taking Taiwan's not taking share away from them. AMD is. That's why.
understand. I'm going to say, I want to say it's around 100,000 employees, somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah, 130.
132,000. Okay. Here's what they need to do. All right. Now, previously, there's a man named Elon Musk who bought Twitter. And we did a thing on this. Everyone's like, oh my God, he got rid of half the employees. Now, once again, I know Twitter's on Intel. I get it. Okay. Turns out it's running pretty much completely fine with half. Okay. I have a buddy who worked at Intel, and now he no longer works there. That they cut a bunch of employees years ago. But essentially, I played Xbox with him a lot. He was home a lot during the day. Let's just go with that. Okay. Yeah, like I was in school. He worked at Intel. It's as if he didn't have a job, but he was getting a full salary. Okay. When you have a company who's been around for 50 years, you're going to have big bloated departments that frankly do not need to have that many employees. I'm sure HR alone here is like 15,000, and it's probably not necessary. Yes, they just saved 5 to 6 billion from dividend cuts. They should cut more, and they should focus on share buybacks. Their float is ridiculous, by the way. Like I would way rather share buybacks than dividends. 132,000 employees is disgusting. It's too much.
Interesting. Okay.
What are you buying them for?
So I took a quick peek at their financials. Remember, I owned this stock up until a matter of like months ago, and maybe it's just my recency bias of like how I'm just disappointed and kind of want to stay away from it. But so they had 15 billion in like free cash flow last year. They did have like $11 billion in depreciation.
Super
So
fast. Before you get to this part, Taiwan
yeah.
Semiconductors, 60,000 employees, half.
There you go. Okay, makes sense. But so you're talking about if depreciation roughly kind of is designed to represent the replacement cost of equipment as it kind of gets through its life cycle, you're looking at about $4 billion of free cash flow to equity holder. I would want at least a 10% free cash flow to equity holder yield on my end. So I'd be looking at a $40 billion market cap, aka about $10 a share is where I'd get interested in Intel again. I know. Is that what you were expecting me to say?
No, I was not. $10?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go like 21.
Oh, no. I'm actually looking at this chart right now. I'm going like, crap, I might want to actually put a bearish trade on it because from the standpoint of both, the chart analysis and also my personal opinion of Intel at this point. I need to see more progress out of them, and I haven't seen that. They've consistently been like that excuse maker of a. I don't know if you ever dated someone that just made excuses all the time.
I said this shit to you, and you are backing them up for 2 years.
Well, maybe I'm just more patient in my relationships than you are. Okay.
I literally said that. All right, whatever. Taking my lines. This does look like an interesting short. The problem is the 4 billion float. It takes a lot to move a dollar. Like, I mean, well, they have lost so much already, so it is very possible. I was gonna go $15.
15. Okay.
And that's with doing little to no research.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I based mine on a number, but it wasn't like it's just my personal feeling about that number and where I'd like to see it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that is outside their control as far as like the economic cycle, and they talked about how CPUs being replaced at a slower pace than their actual natural life cycle. But those are things they can't control. But so I want a discount on something that they can control in the worst case scenario.
Yeah,
I buy
I will say, if anyone ever listens to Intel's excuses for their CPU woes and then listens to AMD's earnings calls, they don't exist. The AMD says like, no, people are buying ours left and right. Now I know what you're talking about. So, caveat.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let us know if they think that you should. I don't want to see people lose their jobs, but they're more than double Taiwan Semiconductors and way more than everybody else. I just think they should lose like 30,000 employees.
Ouch.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
It's not going to be very popular. Have a good one.
Catch you the next one.